Welcome to the Perfect Care EHR Document Management Training Series, Part 13, Cloud Faxing. We covered access and basic navigation in Part 1 and 2 of this video series. Parts 3, 4, and 5 covered adding documents to the patient using scanning, import, and virtual printer technology. In Parts 6, 7, and 8, we covered printing documents, PDF export, and emailing documents from within the patient chart. In Parts 9 and 10, we reviewed removing and moving documents. In Part 11, we reviewed the document collector. In Part 12, we reviewed the document annotation functions. In Part 13, we'll review the cloud faxing system. We should distinguish that there are two fundamental faxing methods available to choose from. In this video, we will discuss the cloud-based fax system. This system utilizes internet-based fax technology requiring the practice to sign up for an electronic fax account. The fax technology provides additional security and HIPAA compliance not available with most traditional fax systems, including reduced infrastructure, complications, and cost often associated with an in-office analog fax solution. Consult with your NCG implementation team for additional details regarding sign-up and implementation. For users choosing alternative fax systems or solutions, we will cover those in a later video under alternative faxing. While the cloud-integrated faxing provides the most features and audit capability directly from within the document management solution, alternative fax solutions provide a very capable solution if the practice chooses to use existing infrastructure or solutions. If looking to alternative network-based fax solutions for your practice, consult with your IT professionals familiar with your environment for the best advice on implementation, as there are many solutions available. Let's begin by accessing the desired account and then locate the patient document section as we discussed in videos 1 and 2 of this series. The operator will need to choose an option to select the documents he or she wishes to add to the fax. Do so by enabling the document to select the tool located at the far right of the toolbar. There are 4 options available to select documents. The function for selecting pages was covered at length in video Part 6, Printing Documents. Rather than repeat the content in video 6, we will simply choose the manual select option and select the desired documents for faxing. If interested in review of the select all or select by date range, then please refer to video Part 6 in this series. Here we've selected the 3 pages we wish to use in our outbound fax. Once the desired pages are selected, select the fax option to invoke the fax page. The system will display the fax page and the faxing toolbar. Notice the document set information labeled with the toolbar or the toolbar for reference. Here we see the number of pages matching the number that we just selected before invoking the fax selection. The operator may choose to fill in the fax to destination, phone number, and contact name on the fly, or simply choose an existing fax contact from the list below. We will review setting up fax contacts further along in this video series. For now, we will select an existing fax contact from the list, which allows the system to fill in the fax to destination and other associated fax contact information. In this example, we'll click on NCG, filling in the fax to and the contact name. Additional information may be filled in. Then use the list of fax cover sheets available to choose the desired fax cover page. Choose main cover. We will discuss the creation of fax cover sheets later in this video. Now complete by pressing send. We are now returned back to our multi-page view with our original thumbnails for the 3 documents selected to place in that fax. Now let's review outbound faxes and verify the status of the job that we just submitted. Access the Faxing tab on the far left navigation menu. Access outbound faxes The system will display the fax log for outbound faxes along with the toolbar at the top. Notice the jobs are listed in descending order with the most recent job submitted at the top of the list. Additionally, each job has identifying information and status under the appropriate column label. Note the status column indicating the current status of the fax job we just submitted. Pending. Status values range from error, followed by general explanation of the failure, often wrong phone numbers, etc., to OK and pending statuses. Notice the OK on 2 retries indicating the fax job was successful, but did take more than one attempt to complete. Fax jobs labeled pending are still being processed and have yet to fail or succeed and will need additional time to process. Note the operator may also filter this list to display only his or her fax jobs using the Display Mine option under the fax filters. The operator may wish to filter only failed faxes using the Failed Faxes filter. And further, the operator may wish to only view fax jobs associated with the current patient chart using the Current Chart Filter option. Operators may also choose to print the fax log to hard copy using the Print Report function. This will invoke the Browser Save dialog, allowing the operator to save the fax log to PDF format. If the operator wishes to review the document pages in a particular fax job, click on the appropriate fax job entry in the log below. This will highlight the entry as shown here and display the first page image from the fax on the far right side of the screen. The operator may now press the View from the toolbar to open the pages bundled with this fax. Here we see the 4 pages now that are part of this fax, the original 3 that we included, and of course by including the cover sheet, and now a total of 4 pages. When finished, simply return to the Outbound Faxes by selecting the Outbound Fax tab on the far left. A fax that requires a resend may be highlighted in the fax log and then submitted for resend using the Resend tool on the toolbar. A refresh icon is provided to allow a refresh of the fax log while on screen. Remember, faxes are being processed in the cloud in real time, and the status may change while the operator sits idle on this fax log screen. A fax job that is no longer required may be removed from the log by highlighting the appropriate fax job from the log below and then pressing the Delete option on the toolbar. The system will confirm that the operator wishes to delete and simply press the OK when prompted. To print out a particular fax, simply highlight the desired fax from the log and press the Print from the toolbar. This concludes the basics for outbound faxing. Now let's return to the Patient Documents view where we were when we first generated our outbound fax. Now let's discuss handling inbound faxes. Locate the Faxing tab on the far left again and click to invoke the Faxing menu. Click the Inbound Fax option, and the system will display the inbound fax dialog showing jobs incoming to the system in descending order as the default view. The view will show important information regarding the fax, including date and time received, a matching fax contact by name if available, and the phone number of origin, the operator assigned to handle this incoming fax, the number of pages, and the status in the event the received fax was cut short due to technical issues. The operator may choose to highlight a particular fax and view the fax on screen. First, highlight the desired fax by clicking once on the fax log entry, and then choose the Display tool from the toolbar. The system will display the incoming fax pages along with the tools to reproduce the document or introduce the document to a patient chart. The operator has two main courses of action from which to choose at this point. He or she may wish to use the print, export to PDF, or email tools to reproduce these pages to some form of hard copy or digital file. These options remain independent of the chart and would not require filing the content to a patient chart. This may be suitable to faxes containing content having no relevance to a patient chart that simply need to be provided to the office as a business option. We will forego a detailed walkthrough producing the fax to hard copy, print, or PDF, etc., as these options are the same as those discussed in parts 6, 7, and 8 of this video series. If the pages are deemed relevant to a particular patient, then the tools are provided to refine the quality of the images, including any required annotations, and then introduce the documents to the appropriate chart. The first step is to clean or refine the quality of the incoming images before introducing them to the patient chart. Click the thumbnail image to invoke the single page view for the first page in the document set and review and apply necessary changes. Here we see several pages, the first being the fax cover, which came through in a horrible black. We won't end up actually importing that into the account anyway, so we'll simply ignore that page and begin by looking at the first page with actual content. We will double click on that page, invoking the single page view. The single page view will display along with a corresponding set of tools on the toolbar at the top of the page. Faxes from external systems offer a somewhat uncontrolled format and often result in pages that may not be oriented properly for easy recognition. Check the page orientation. If necessary, use the rotation tools to change the orientation accordingly. Just as an example, I'll rotate this page. And then rotate the page back again using the rotation tools at the top. Operators may also use zoom controls to further review the discrete elements of the page. Often faxes are difficult to read, and sometimes zooming in on the text or content may help to actually discern what's actually on the page. Operators may use a very familiar zoom in or zoom out tool to offer better visibility. Three additional quick zoom tools may provide a quick rescale of the image, again offering better visibility. The first being the fit to width, which resizes the image to fit the available on-screen real estate, focusing heavily on the horizontal width of the current content. The process will increase the overall image size only to a point such as to fit the horizontal content, making it fully visible within the confines of the defined page width. The best fit option may prove to be the best choice to ensure image content fits both horizontally and vertically on the standard page. This may be the quickest way to resize the image to a compromised proportion and better visibility. The option to show the image at its full size is largely simply a quick way to view the image in a greatly resized or zoomed view. If we quickly demonstrate that option, we'll see that the document zooms in very tight, allowing us to read very small print. We can then use the best fit option to return the page to a normal size. After completing any orientation and annotation changes required for this page, the operator may use navigation controls to advance to the next page in the set of fax documents and render necessary changes accordingly. Many faxes may enter the system with content that may require additional markup or even obscuring of data before introduction to the patient chart. Invoke the annotation tools to render markup as desired. We will forego detailed explanation of these tools within the scope of this video. Part 12 of this video series covers all the functions provided by the annotation tool should the operator need additional guidance in the use of these features. Here we see a highlight has already been added to this particular fax. Again, after completing any orientation or annotation changes, the operator may navigate to the next page in the fax. When finally complete, press the back tool to return to the inbound fax detail screen. Here we can see the pages and if any annotations were made. Again, the highlights easily visible in the thumbnails can be seen here. Those would be visible now, showing the current content on these pages. As noted previously, our goal here is not to simply reproduce the pages in hard copy or PDF, which are options available to the operator as noted earlier. Our goal in this example is to introduce these pages directly to the patient chart. To complete that task, we will need to supply the system with information relating to the destination for this document. The first required element will be the document type. There are three options for document type from which to choose. Two of the options, EOB and Superbill, pertain to an advanced Office document feature which will be discussed further and later in this video series. Our goal remains to introduce these documents to the patient chart at this time and not the Office documents. With that goal in mind, we will continue the default or using the default option, which is patient document. The next required element is the practice selection. Patient chart content is broken down by practice for locations where there are multiple practices present. If more than one practice exists, the operator will need to choose the desired target practice. For most offices, there is simply only one practice. Simply allow the default and continue on. The next step is to identify the patient chart into which these pages should be introduced. The values present in the account first name and last name identify the target patient. Notice in our current example, account 11, Dorothy Schnurr, is already selected. The system has anticipated the current patient based on the last patient searched. Remember, at the beginning of this video, we searched for account 11 and started the demonstration from within Dorothy's documents section. We then proceeded to fax, or to create and fax a set of documents, and then reviewed that fax. During that time, the system remembers the last patient we accessed, in this case, Dorothy Schnurr. And when we proceeded to the inbound faxes, the system automatically fills in her information here, assuming that that is the working account with which we wish to conduct our operation. Should we need to change the current target patient, then the operator could leave the faxing system and use the main search feature to look up a new patient and then return to the inbound faxes. However, such a series of steps is not necessary, and the operator may look up the patient directly on the screen using the lookup feature. Simply remove the current identifying information under the account, first name, and last name. Enter a value to search for, and in this case, let's attempt to search for account Mark Barnes. We will insert the first name and last name and then press the lookup. If the patient is found, as in this case, the system will return the patient account number indicating a successful search. The reverse holds true if searching by account number 10024, the system would then return the corresponding first and last name to verify the search result was successful. With the patient chart selected, we move on to the Destination tab. Select the desired tab within the chart into which these pages will be inserted. Here we'll choose Other. The operator may now complete the task by importing these pages into the designated patient chart using the Import Tab tool. Before doing so, the operator should consider whether or not to delete this fax after the pages are successfully introduced to the patient chart. If there is no further need to retain this fax for further reproduction or introduction to other charts, then the operator may select the To Delete on Import before clicking the Import to Tab tool. If the operator wishes to retain this fax in the inbound fax system, simply leave this checkbox unchecked. This would allow the operator to import these pages repeatedly to multiple charts if so desired by simply repeating the steps to designate a new patient chart for insertion using the lookup and then repeating the import to tab process. One last quick note on the View Tab feature, which allows the operator to bring up a pop-up screen showing the pages successfully introduced to the Patient Chart tab. Let's go ahead, and I think I forgot. Let me just go ahead and quickly make sure my practice is set for this particular set of pages. In our case, we do have more than one practice. We already established our account. We have established our destination tab. I'm going to leave the fax present, so I'm going to leave the delete on import unchecked. And I'm now going to import to tab. Oh, sorry. I forgot to first select the images. First, we need to select manually. Select the pages. Notice I'm not selecting the first page, which was the black cover sheet. Instead, I've only selected the 4 pages with actual content of value. And let's repeat our import to tab option. Import selected fax images to selected tab. Absolutely. We'll click the OK. And now we'll use the View tab just to take a quick look. Go to the Other. And now we're looking at the Other tab, Multi-Page View for Mark Barnes, account 1024. And we can see that our page is imported. Actually, I'm sorry, that was our destination tab was patient history. Here we can see that our page is imported as we so desired. We can close that View tab. And that finishes the import of this fax to account Mark Barnes. Obviously, at this point, we could repeat the process, changing this account, import it to another account, or at this time, simply exit out and go back to our inbound fax log and begin the process again with another fax entry. This concludes an example for importing pages to the patient chart from an incoming fax. Taking a step back for a moment, there are numerous faxes coming into any given system. While the inbound fax log provides a way to search and find the desired fax and in turn reproduce or import those images to the patient chart, there may also be a need to assign an operator to deal with the majority of the incoming faxes and then distribute assigned faxes to specific operators. By default, the system will assign each incoming fax to a single operator of choosing. Contact your implementation team to assign the specific default fax operator. When entering the inbound faxes, notice the Assign To column in the middle. With all faxes assigned to a specific operator, we could designate that operator to review incoming faxes and in turn either process them as needed or assign the fax to another operator. Note that assigning a fax to a particular operator does not mean that the operator or another operator may not access and process these faxes as needed. It simply provides a means to workflow faxes to specific operators within the office as a task. For example, here in the inbound fax screen, we see 2 faxes assigned to Demo 1 operator and 1 more assigned to Demo 2. I am logged in as Demo 1 operator presently and still see all the faxes by default, including Demo 2. If I wish to filter for the incoming faxes and see only my assigned faxes, simply check the Display Mine on the toolbar above. Uncheck the Display Mine to return to the full list of faxes. Operators may assign the fax to a new operator by simply using the drop-down under the Assigned To column. Here we will change the second fax to operator Demo 2 by simply selecting the operator from the drop-down list. When Demo 2 logs into the inbound faxes and filters only his or her faxes, this fax will now be assigned to that list. Also note that if the operator invokes the Detail Faxes page screen, there is another assignment tool there as well. Again, we'll do that by highlighting fax and going back to display. That will bring up the detail view with the thumbnails. And here you'll see the additional option for the Assigned To user on the top toolbar. Returning to the inbound faxes, this concludes the basics for handling incoming faxes. We noted earlier in this video the presence of a fax contact list. Frequently used destinations may be added to the list of fax contacts, making the assignment of the fax destination a simple step. Access the fax contact list from the Faxing menu. The fax contacts grid will be displayed with any existing fax contacts present. Simply select the Add New Record Plus icon located in the top left of the grid to add a new contact. When the new fax contact dialog appears, enter the name and other pertinent information. Select the default practice under which this fax contact is assigned and include a default user to associate this contact with a specific operator if desired. Association of a fax contact with a specific operator will allow the operator to filter a list of only those contacts assigned to his or her operator. Most will probably leave this blank, making all fax contacts visible to all operators by default. Press the insert to enter the fax contact record. Notice the additional entry now into the fax contact list for Drug Inc. Existing fax records may be edited from this list using the edit icon on the far left column. Simply invoke the editor and then modify the necessary contact information. And then insert to save or update. Additionally, contacts may be removed from this list using the Delete X on the far right-hand column. Now that we've added a fax contact, this record will now be available in the fax contacts list used when sending faxes. To see this in action, repeat the steps used earlier in this video to gather a set of pages and invoke the Fax Send option to invoke the outbound faxing. I'll now return to Patient Documents. I'm going to go to the Patient History. And now select a couple of pages. Invoke the fax option. And we now see drug ink, which if I select it, will automatically fill in my fax 2 destination number along with the contact name. Now while on the outbound faxing screen, note the Edit Covers option near the Select Cover Sheet. Let's review adding a new cover sheet to the system at this time. Press the Edit Covers option to invoke the cover sheet library. In this example, we'll add a new cover sheet from a Microsoft Word file, which we have for the office utilizing the virtual web printer to bring the fax sheet from the Word document into the document management system. We will open the Word file containing our Office fax cover template. And then print the blank cover sheet to the virtual web printer. Process is complete. Now let's return back to our cover page library. Now we'll click the New Form option and we'll enter a new form name for our cover sheet. For this example, we are using the virtual web printer. So we will select the virtual printer as our source for the cover page template. Remember, you may also import from digital media or scan the cover sheet from a physical hard copy form using your scanner. We chose a virtual printer and now press the Add Pages. The system will invoke the virtual printer import page, which we covered in detail in Lesson 5 of this series. Choose the Upload tool to complete the import process. Press the Back tool to return to the library page. Now press the Save to complete the entry of the template. To complete the cover page, we will enter the default contact database fields, which will pull fax content and other relevant information to this fax cover when producing the outbound fax job. Select the desired form and press the Edit Annotation. Using the Database Field tool in the top toolbar, choose the desired field from the drop-down list. Here we will select the Fax2 field and insert into the appropriate location on our form. Select the Fax2 option, then select and click the Database plus icon on the toolbar directly above the list. The cursor will switch to the large plus sign indicating ready to add the field to the form. Locate the desired position on the form, hold the left mouse button, and drag the insertion object to the desired size and location on the form. Repeat the process for other pertinent fields as desired. Most important will be the fax comments, fax number, and fax2 and from contact information used on most fax cover sheets. Once finished, press the back tool on the toolbar and confirm the changes to the form. Click OK. This will complete the changes to the fax cover, making them available for future use. Press the close to exit the library page. Now, under the cover page selection, note the additional cover page we just added. This is my new office cover sheet. This concludes this video training. We will cover further advanced features and additional functions further in this learning series. This concludes cloud faxing.